serve cold with the Wolves and the Hawks never shiver in the snow. The Bulls keep it running, the Sox run the South, the Cubs run the North, but the Bears run the house. True Chicago sports fans got their ears to the street. Any team make a move and they never skip a beat. And in this house, this is where we be. Welcome to the show with E-Roc and Big Z.
Welcome to Chicago, coming to you from the True Chicago Sports Fan Cave. This is the TCSF podcast with your hosts, E-Roc and Big Z. We are brought to you in part by Anchor, Noir, Caesar, and Villain Radio Studios. Just a heads up, with football season starting, we are going to a weekly format. Shows will be released Thursday mornings to start the football week. Big Z, we got a huge show today.
Huge show today. Lots to talk about. Yes, we do. We'll be talking to our new Bears expert, Il Brown. He's doing his own Bears post-game analysis on Facebook Live. And who else rather than someone who's watching play-by-play of what's going on with the Bears, in tune with what's going on.
That's right. Il Brown is the co-creator and chief engineer of Villain Radio Studios, and he's also the co-host of the Beat the Block podcast, which is a show dedicated to the behind-the-scenes stories of music producers and how they take care of their mental health. He'll be with us throughout the Bears season, starting this week with a preview of the 2020 season. But first, it's 3 up and 3 down.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
We give you 3 good things and 3 bad things about our favorite baseball teams. Z, give me some good White Sox news.
I'm going to give you a ton of White Sox news because you know what? My team is back in first place.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. We're back in first place. And right now, we just finished the series with the Kansas City Royals and just swept them.
Nice.
Yeah, we are in first place with a 26-15 record. So that is really good, especially because the Twins and the Indians are not going to let up.
Yeah, I mean, you got 2 teams over there who are right dead on your heels. If you're trying to win that division, you got to keep it up.
Yes, we do. So I got 3 good things, and I'm going to start with number 1, Dane freaking Dunning.
Nice.
This kid is pitching so well. So far, last 2 starts, 9.2 innings, 5 hits, 11 strikeouts,
Okay.
5 walks, which is maybe a little high, but, you know, I'm going to give him some slack. It's pretty good.
He also wins number 1 Dork of the Year award.
I'll take it. I'm a dork.
But this guy, I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but he's got the goofiest look on his face when he's sitting there with his headshots and all that stuff. I give the kid credit. I mean, he's a beast out there, and he's been really good to start off his career, at least this year.
Yeah, he looks a little, confused when he's out the mound. He's with them glasses. But
Yeah.
you know what? As long as he hits the strike zone, I don't care.
That's right.
All right, number two. MLB League, he's got the longest hitting streak in MLB. He's got 20 games as of today, Sunday. Mr. Jose Pito Abreu. Abreu, yes, sir. He's got big hits, big home runs. And you know what? You can't fault him. This guy has been clutch. And right now, you got to put him in a conversation of MVP for the league.
You have to, because of what he's been doing with his 20. You're talking about a 20-game hitting streak and a 60-game season.
If this was the regular season and he's 20th, and let's just round it off 2.5.
Right.
I mean, that's a lot of games.
Yeah, that's still a stretch.
Oh, no, it's a stretch.
That's definitely a stretch.
It's a stretch, but, you have to equivocate these things. But at the same time, 20 games, that's what, 1/3 of the season where he's got a hit every game.
Yep.
And then he's got about 13 home runs as of yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I mean, look, he killed our Cubs when they played, and, he's just kind of use that. I mean, he was doing well going into that series, but he's used that as a springboard to kind of boost his confidence. I mean, you can say what you want about the Crosstown Classic, the Crosstown Series, whatever it is, what it means to the players versus what it means to the fans. But when you got a guy who has been the backbone of the Sox for a long time, been around when they've been terrible, he's basically the Rizzo version of what they have over there.
He is.
And he's boosted him up for all these years. Now he's kind of thriving off of that. I mean, it means a lot to him.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is just he's like, wow, look at all these people around me that can actually hit.
Right.
And I'm being protected now.
I'm actually getting some support.
Right, he is.
Right.
All right, number three, McCann. And I'm going to kind of split this in half, McCann and Grandal. But let me go with McCann first. On the defensive side, he has Giolito and Cease locked in. We had with the no-hitter last week.
That's right.
And then now with Cease coming up too and pitching well, he's got these pitchers pitching very well. They're not really shaking him off. and the defense behind him is producing for them. And then on the other side, Grandal's starting to heat up. He's been hitting home runs left and right.
Yes.
And now, even though he's playing first base, they gave a little break there. He's got a glove.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, that's the thing is that especially with a catcher, I mean, it's so important to have your catcher in tune with your pitcher, where you're not seeing these guys shake them off, where you're seeing them pitch.
The trust. You have that trust.
Yeah, it's two in one. Okay, it's two playing as one. So that's really what you need, so that the catcher can drive the game the way it needs to. People underestimate how important that catcher is in a lot of these games, and they just say, "Oh, well, that's the guy that they put behind there because he's not as athletic or this or that or whatever." And they also say, "Whatever you get offensively out of your catcher is a bonus." But look what Grandal is doing. I mean, Grandal is swinging a big stick right now.
Oh, baby, a triple!
You know, so I mean, if you're going to get a bonus out of it, why not be a big bonus?
Yeah, we got two catchers. We got the best catching tandem in MLB, and they're both starting to hit. And then when you got guys who can dictate their pitching staff and say, hey, this is what you're going to throw because of this. This player can't do that. Pitch him inside, pitch him outside. He's going to get that scouting report already built in his head. And guess what? Giolito and Cesar can be like, whatever you say. Whatever you say, boss.
Well, here's the thing. It can't all be roses. What's your down?
My down. All right. So this is going to sound a little familiar to you.
Ugh.
Because I think we might have a sponsorship for this guy, and I think you got one for me though.
Mr. Submarine.
Oh yeah, Mr. Cishek.
Uh-huh.
This guy cannot hit his spots, and I'm worried about him.
He's got that really awkward arm angle, that submarine style pitch. I mean, that's one of those things where I always felt like when you see these guys slinging out of that weird angle, it's always going to be hit or miss.
The torque on the elbow, the wrist, and the shoulder is just unbelievable. And then it doesn't seem like it's a reliable release point.
Now, here's the thing. To be honest, when you look at a regular pitch, that's not your arm's not supposed to move that anyway, that way. But you know, if this is more comfortable for him, he's had a decent career. I mean, he's moved around the league. The Cubs had him for a couple seasons. Seattle had him. So it's not like, you know, he's some weirdo rookie that came out of nowhere and we're like, well, I never heard of this guy. But you know, the thing is that with that style, the idea is that you're trying to change the eye point and the way that the ball is coming into that pitcher to the batter. So the way that the ball is coming in, if it's not really making a difference, and you know, what use do they have a guy for if he's not going to hit his spots?
Yeah.
You know?
So right now, like the guy needs to, I don't know, go back to the drawing board. I don't know what he needs to do. We need to put someone else in there for right now.
He's just got to clean it up. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen him throw really good pitches, and I've seen him throw all over the place. You know, it's just, and the thing is with pitching is specifically trying to get into that small. I mean, I played darts for years. You bowl on a very regular basis.
Right.
Your release point and getting into your own head, you could have 3 great games, and then the next one you slip up a little bit, and next thing you know, you're just completely off. So,
if you can't make that adjustment on the fly, it's all downhill from there.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move it on. So number 2 would be injuries. Injuries continue to bite the White Sox, and right now Keiko is going out with his back.
And that was today.
Yeah, that was
today.
Right, we'll find out more in the next couple of days. You also have Chase Fry, another back issue. Gio Gonzalez with the groin issue. Bummer with the bicep nerve now.
That's a lot of pitchers.
Yeah, and that's supposed to be our strong suit. And then Mokada's hamstrings are iffy. My hamstrings are iffy. And he's still recovering from the COVID. He's saying he still feels weak from COVID.
Weak, tired. You know, he's not. It goes to show, even professional athletes, which are some of the strongest and most well-conditioned people on the planet, are still being, you know, affected greatly by this.
Yeah, and then my last point is really, really short. Lopez, garbage. Thank God he's in Schaumburg.
Oh, that guy? Oh, I smelled something. We got notes here that says hot garbage. I says, hot garbage, cold garbage, medium garbage. It don't matter because right now it's just all garbage.
Yeah, it's garbage. You know what? I got a match. Let's light this garbage on fire.
So are they going to cut the ties with him or what?
I don't know. I mean, you got to keep him down. Keep him in the minors. You got to have somebody go over there and start from scratch and fix his mechanics. Maybe it's his mental. I have no idea what's wrong with this kid. But you know what? Let's talk about your Cubs.
Yeah. Well, we're looking for positives. Like I said, because of how hot the Sox are, they've been a focal point as far as Chicago baseball is concerned. But you know, the first thing I'll say is through all this turmoil and weak play, they've still managed to stay in first place. Now, granted, the fact that the Cardinals didn't play for that time probably gave them a break. But, you know, right now, they're still sitting at a pretty good record. We're talking about a 23-17 record. Right now, Saturday or Sunday. Sunday, good Lord. I don't even know what day it is with these weird long weekends. Right now, Sunday, they haven't played yet today, but they are in a 2-game losing streak because they lost that doubleheader yesterday to the Cardinals. They won one of those games, but by winning that first game, that's what kept them in first place. So, you know, right now they're still in first place, and, you know, that's something to be positive about.
Yeah, but, I mean, your Cardinals have been there every year with the Cubs.
Yes.
No matter if the Cubs suck or the Cubs are really great, the Cardinals are always there on your butt.
And recently the Brewers.
And recently the Brewers.
But
the Brewers are going to fade off.
They fell off this year for sure.
The Brewers are up and down. Either they're right there or they just, you know, they crumble. They're under the pressure. But the Cardinals, no matter what, they've always been there.
Right.
And that's the surprising part is that sometimes they don't have big names and sometimes they do. And guess what? It doesn't matter who they put out there.
No.
They're going to compete with you.
No.
And you can't take that for granted.
Well, no, and that's what the Cubs always strive to be, is be a model of the Cardinals, because the Cardinals were so good for so long and they were just very consistent with what they did. And that's what we always strive to be as far as the Cubs are concerned. And now that we have our stars, the thing is that the difference between Chicago and St. Louis is you're talking about a much bigger market. So there's much more criticism on the Cubs than there are the Cardinals. So when they actually have to sit there and prove it, the Cardinals, because they've been playing so good for so long, going back to La Russa, that it's okay if they're not winning the World Series every year. With us, it's panic mode, panic mode, panic mode.
Well, now that you got the taste of it.
Yeah, well, that's really what it is. I mean, lovable losers don't exist anymore.
No, that era's gone.
Yeah, that's long gone.
Now you set the bar so high. Now you've got to compete.
Well, the thing is, too, is you're looking at all these players that they gave away. I mean, all over the place. And you had to do that in order to get to where you needed to go. But there were some decisions that were made that, you know, are regrettable. But you always worry about the current championship. You don't worry about, you know, 5 years from now. We're trying to win right now. So, I mean, I look at both sides of the coin when it goes to something like that.
Being a GM is very hard.
Absolutely.
Okay, you don't have a crystal ball. You can't tell whether this player in single A is going to turn out to be your best player.
Right.
Tatis.
All right. Well, here's a good player. Here's a good player. Ian Happ. Happy is out there killing it. We're recording on September 6th. And he's currently got a .310 batting average, 12 home runs, and 24 ribbies, and that leads the Cubs.
I think he leads the MLB in OPS. I'm not sure.
I
saw that yesterday.
I'm still trying to figure out what that stat is. There's too many letters in the baseball now.
Yeah. That's extra base hits and home runs and power and all that.
You see, that's too many, man. What happens? Give me a stat and let me run with that, okay? I'm finally bringing stats to my part.
You just want to divide?
Yeah, I'm just trying. I'm trying to bring a little bit of numbers here. I'm not good at math. But yeah, I mean, I'm so glad to see him doing well after his struggles last year. I mean, I guess you know what he did to start the year when they were all stuck. He started a podcast.
You did?
Yeah, so I guess starting a podcast can launch your career, huh?
Hey, a chance for us.
Yeah, let's go. And third, I'll say, again, my man, Cy Darvish. He had 11 strikeouts in his last start, and he's on a 7-game win streak.
Oh, that dude is dealing like he's a blackjack dealer, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
This is what you're going to get. You're not going to hit it. Don't worry.
Now, his array of pitches where I said he was mimicking Japanese alphabet shapes is paying off. You know? Cobra Kai.
Hey, great show.
Yeah. And I said it before and I'll say it again. He is completely vindicated and refreshed after the Astros cheating scandal came to light.
I'm sorry, but he's like the biggest spotlight that you have for this year.
Yeah.
With a lot of downs. This guy has been Mr. Consistent. And you know what? He's going to prove it to everybody by winning the Cy Young Award this year.
It looks like he's headed that way. You know, I do have downs.
Oh.
They're big downs.
How many you got?
Well, I got Javi, who I absolutely love. I mean, I said before that Javi was basically a new version of Sammy.
Okay.
No matter who you are, you love to watch Javi play. You'll come to the park to see Javi, even the Cubs are bad.
Yeah.
Okay. But he's completely reverted to his old ways. He's swinging for the fence every single at-bat. Now, last show, I gave him props for hitting 2 home runs in the same game against the Tigers, but it looks like that was a complete fluke. He just happened to make contact, and there's 2 large swings. He is not hitting for contact at all.
I think the MLB's figured him out again.
Yeah.
You know, they started like, oh, he can't hit this, and he was striking out, and then they sent him down, and he came back up. Each made some changes, but now they just adjusted to him.
His biggest weakness has always been the high fastball.
Oh.
He swings at that every single time. You see, if you're up 2 strikes, throw that high, and he's going to swing through it.
Yeah, he's like that girl in League of Their Own.
Like the high.
It's
I like the fast ones.
It's like a tennis racket with no net. It's ridiculous. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? And every time I'm sitting there, all right, we got 2 on. Come on, Javi, let's do it. What does he do? The complete opposite of what he's supposed to. And it's extremely frustrating. I don't know if he's pressing. I don't know if he's worried about his contract. But right now, the 2 players we're worried about the most are Javi and KB. And, I mean, how am I supposed to pay either one of these guys right now?
I mean, you're going to pay Javi. I don't think you're paying KB. I think KB walks at this point because, you know, the trade deadline left and he was hurt and you couldn't do anything with him. You lost that bargaining chip, which, to be honest, you should have pulled a Bill Belichick and traded him a year early instead of a year late.
They should have traded him for Arenado when they could.
Right.
I mean, I would have absolutely loved that. I would have loved if they could keep both. I said it before, but all right, number 2.
Yeah.
Bullpen. I cannot stress this enough. The Cubs will not go anywhere in the postseason with the way the bullpen is. I know it's been a long weak point from the start, but to actually see it is so damn depressing.
Yeah, this bullpen, if you put it against the Dodgers, San Diego, Atlanta, guess what? You're throwing batting practice.
Yeah.
These guys are going to hit home runs after home runs on you.
It's depressing to see the collapse of what we thought was. I mean, this is not what we thought. It was a very good team. We watched them. This has been the highest high Cubs fans have ever had, as far as like, you know, the living Cubs fans. I'm not talking about the ones from the 1900s.
You're talking about the current stretch, right?
You know, this is. We got to see, you know, people's grandparents that watched the Cubs for 75 years win a World Series. You know, it's been extremely emotional for the past, you know, 6-7 years. But I mean, like,
right, but
this is coming to an end, and it's sad to watch.
Now that not that they won, the button, you know, that big red button that says reset on it.
Yep.
That's what happened. That reset button hit.
Yeah.
And it's year 1 right after. And guess what? You haven't won one in 4 years? Okay. And I'm not going back and forth with you. I'm just saying when you win one, the reset button gets hit, and it's like how long since you've won one.
But again, I'll go back to the Cubs, and let's be honest here: the Cubs, more than the White Sox, have way more pressure on them to win.
Most definitely.
If the White Sox win, it's a bonus for the city. If the Cubs lose, everyone loses their damn mind.
Well, because I mean, let's just keep it real. There's more Cub fans in the city and actually in the nation than there is White Sox fans.
WGN.
Right, and that's fine. We've covered this. And if you haven't heard it, well, go back and listen to the other episodes and listen, and then come back to this one. What I'm saying is that there's more Cub fans than Sox fans, and I'm okay with that. I'm a faithful Sox fan, and there's a bunch of us out there are, and we get a lot of crap for it, but whatever. I don't care. But at the end of the day is you guys won your championship, the reset button hit, and now your expectations are even higher. We were the Lubbaloo losers, and you were like, oh, yeah, we're 500. Oh, yeah, we're in second place. And you creeped up, and you got, oh, we're in the playoffs. And then you go back to being crappy. But you guys were okay being lovable losers.
But they're not crappy. That's the thing.
That mentality has completely changed.
No, I agree, but they're not a bad team. That's the problem. That's the frustrating thing.
They're not a bad team. They're underperforming.
They're an underperforming team, and that's a big difference because they're still in first place.
Yeah, but they're not performing to what? Like if I gave you their baseball cards from last year, if I flipped it over and I said, okay, this is their numbers, they're not performing nowhere near that.
No, they're not.
Besides Darvish,
right?
Nobody's doing it.
No, I agree. And Darvish has been the bright spot because he's had might be one of the best stretches of his career.
Right.
You know, so I mean, like, you're not the phrase you're looking for is not playing up to the back of your baseball card. You know, and that's true, and that's what is so frustrating.
Definitely.
We watched all these guys come up and thrive and do all this stuff, and then one by one we watched them go by the wayside. We watched C.J. Edwards, who was magnificent at times, gone. Okay,
Pie face.
Huh?
Pie face.
No, C.J. Edwards.
Oh no, who's Pie face?
No, that was Trevor Cahill. Trevor Cahill, big face. Yeah. No. C.J. Edwards was Carl Edwards Jr., who changed his name halfway through his career. He was basically like a black version of Chris Sale. I mean, long, skinny, lanky, but he was a guy that got his own head.
Talk about the sponsorship she could have got.
Holy cow! Yeah, I mean, with pie face, moon pie. Yeah, oh my God. But yeah, I mean, you go up and down as far as the offensive lineup, and it is absolutely depressing to see Almora never develop. Okay. One of your best hitters this year to every Cubs fan demise is Jason Hayward.
Jason Hayward's been consistent after he fixed his swing and all that. He's been consistent the last couple of years for you guys.
That's all well and good.
He gets paid the big bucks.
But when my big boppers,
oh yeah, he's not a big bopper.
Rizzo, Contreras, Javi, are not doing it, and your best hitter is Jason Hayward, who is consistent, which is beautiful. I love that he's consistent, but he should not be your best hitter.
No, he's not. He shouldn't be your best
That's
hitter.
a problem.
Well, I mean, seriously, you just said Contreras, and I was like, he's still on the team?
Yeah, he was supposed to be the next Yachty.
Right.
Now, as far as catching,
his defense is great. I mean, he throws people out.
But defense isn't sexy. No one wants to hear about defense. And for years, when I would talk about Jason Hayward, and this is, well, he can't hit. I'm like, have you seen that defense? Well, we didn't pay all that money for defense. I'm like, you kind of did.
You do.
Because you're saving runs that you don't have to score in opposition.
Right.
Okay. You know, he's really been Spider-Man out there catching everything.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I see what you did there.
All right, so my third down.
Yes, sir.
This is not Cubs related. So this week we lost Hall of Fame pitcher Tom Seaver to dementia and complications from COVID. Seaver played for 20 years, including 3 years with the White Sox, and was an integral part of the 1969 World Series New York Mets. He was a 3-time Cy Young Award winner, 12-time All-Star, 3-time ERA title holder, and had 311 big league wins with a 2.86 career ERA. These are monstrous numbers. I mean, they're incredible.
He's one of the greats. I mean, if you look just at those numbers, like you said, let's pull out the baseball card.
Yeah.
When you can stack them against anybody, and you can say
his
wow.
baseball card actually means something.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean,
and it's worth something.
Yes, it doesn't mean they don't mean anything now, but yeah, I mean, you know, this is what I'll say: the younger generation should recognize his greatness because, you know, he's one of these guys. You're not going to see these guys very often anymore. What
I like to do with students and people that don't know that much about baseball or trying to learn something, I'm like, go to YouTube and try to pull up some old footage, and you're going to pull up the Nolan Ryans.
Yes.
Pull up the Tom Seavers. Pull up Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, Oral Horsheiser.
Yeah.
Pull up those guys. Early Roger Clemens without the juice. Pull up those guys. Look at their technique. Look how they approach every at bat. That is so critical to the mindset and to build mechanics, because most of us learn from watching and from doing. And if you can see that, and if you can mimic this guy, you're gonna have a good career. If you can be half as good as this guy, you're gonna make a great career.
I mean, how many young folks do you think don't even know that Cy Young is named after an actual person?
About 99% of them.
Yeah, I mean, and you can even go back to recent vintage when you talk about someone like Pedro.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so I mean, there's a lot of great pitchers out there, and pitchers that are forgotten. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, especially a guy that was on the 1969 Cubs. Now, granted, I'm sure Cubs fans in 1969 weren't a big fan of his because, you know, that's what happened to the Cubs. But we got to give props to this guy. We got to give him a shout out. And thank you, Tom Seaver, for being such a great part of baseball.
Rest in peace, Tom Terrific.
Rest in peace.
All right. Let's take a pause for the cause. This is True Chicago Sports Fans Podcast.
I think I'll perplex him with my slow ball.
1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you, so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. So, I know you want to do it. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Welcome back, everybody, to the True Chicago Sports Fan Podcast with E-Roc and Big Z. This segment is sponsored by Villain Radio Studios. And we are here with a brand new contributor. This is Il Brown. He's our Bears expert, doing all his analysis on Facebook every single game. Been watching this cat give us all the information and break it down. So I said, you know what? Let's bring this dude because this is the guy that we need.
Welcome to the show, man.
Man, appreciate you guys for having me, man. I would be doing this after every Bears game anyway, so it's super dope that you guys have given me the platform to do so. You know, to talk my proverbial stuff.
That's right. That's right. So, hey, man, tell us a little about yourself, man. I just learned right now that you had aspirations of being an NFL player.
Yeah, actually, I would say that was a cold dream of mine, along with, being a hip-hop producer. Shout out to Eric Sermon and EPMD for that inspiration.
There you go.
But, yeah, man, I had the opportunity to play college football and take my shot at the pros and everything, man. And actually had the luxury of, going to the combine.
Okay.
Doing the practice squad hustle is what we like to call it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Which is a grind in itself. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man, I actually had stints where I was trying to get on with the Bears at one time. Indianapolis Colts, the Packers, and San Diego Chargers.
I'm going to boo one of those teams right off the bat. You know that.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, they called me in for a tryout, man. So,
hey, you got to be like Jim McMahon and say, like, I just went up there to steal their money.
And that's exactly what I was attempting to do, you know what I mean? Hey, nevertheless, man, got the first thing smoking up 94. And,
so what position did you play?
I was kind of a hybrid, man, and that's where it kind of hurt me because even though I had, the measurables weight-wise and things like that, the NFL is definitely a height-weight ratio. Mm-hmm. Especially back when I was coming out, man. I came out in 03, so this is, the same year the Bears ended up with Briggs and Peanut Tillman.
There you go.
Which a guy I actually have a cool Lance Briggs story. He probably don't remember me, but it doesn't matter. But yeah, man, coming out, I was a twinger. You know what I mean? Whereas now you have so many different schemes now where they'll find somewhere for you to play, and I was a twinger coming out, so a lot of teams would try me out at defensive end. Sometimes I'd be tried at the 3 technique, and then in an outrageous attempt, even at outside linebacker in the 3-4 and 34 defense.
Wow.
So,
okay.
All right. You got some speed on you then.
Yeah. I clocked 4.86 in the 40 at the combine.
Okay.
That's faster than Eddie.
And all that stuff gone now, though, man. Like,
yeah.
I will tell you that while you're playing, your body's in tip-top shape, but, you feel every bit of those collisions when you're done playing, man. I will say that.
Yeah, man. Hey, but we've talked to a few different people here, so it's cool to actually talk to someone that, had a chance and got a little bit of taste of what's going on. So
Get that first experience.
Yeah, man, that's really dope.
Where'd you go to school at?
I'm a alum of Illinois State University. Go Redbirds.
Redbirds, yeah.
All right.
Redbirds, okay.
All right, local. That's what's up.
Put a lot of guys in the pros, man. On the low.
I got you. So let's dive into some Bears talk here. Topic. Very tired of this topic, but we got to talk about it.
Of course, the elephant in the room.
Yeah. I mean, oh God. So we knew that we were waiting to see what was going on with Trubisky and Foles. I've said the whole time they had to go Trubisky. Okay. I was very adamant about that. That's who you drafted. Okay. You got to at least give him a couple games. You brought in Foles, who is a career backup, strives as a backup.
Right.
And they ended up going Trubisky. And I knew they would, but we still had to wait.
I think it's more like you have the GM, the coach, and the quarterback all in the same boat.
Yeah.
It's either sink or swim at this point.
And it's not really fair to Nagy, in my opinion, because
he didn't draft him?
Because he didn't pick him. That was not his guy.
He wasn't considered for it? Yeah.
No, no.
As far as evaluating? Yeah.
No. And the thing I'll say is that holding on to John Fox for that one extra year when you had Trubisky and you knew you were going you should have, you know what I mean? Like, if you're going to bring in a guy, you should have brought him in then, bring him in fresh, start with the QB, all this stuff. That John Fox year was nonsense. And the problem is people hold that against Trubisky because of that nonsense year that he didn't do anything, But let me ask you a question, man. Do you think that's the right choice? Do you think they went with the guy they should have?
Honestly, I'm going to say yes, because, when you're dealing with a 53-man roster, you have to go with the guy where the players have bought in. The media has a way of demonizing sports. You know what I mean? There was a lot of things that went on last year where I felt like Mitch really didn't get a fair shake.
Yes.
Especially coming off of a very strong rookie year. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
his real rookie year, not that John Fox year.
Yeah, the John Fox rookie year was like intramural basketball.
Right.
Kind of there hooping. You know what I mean?
Right. It was It was just extra games on top of the little bit of college games that he got to play.
Absolutely, man. So, and they were trying to turn him into a hand the ball off 30 times a game quarterback. So,
Right, and that's not him.
That's not him.
We've been doing fantasy drafts all day, and what I played a recording that I had from a game from a couple of years ago, and they were playing the Packers, and you see Trubisky get out of trouble, turn around, come out of a sack, or what should have been a sack, throw it downfield to none other than Adam Shaheen, and then it took 3 dudes to take him down, and that's why they called him Baby Gronk. He was like, "Hey, who is that guy?" I'm like, "Dude, that's Shaheen." Is Shaheen a failure, or did they fail him? You know what I mean? Like, that's the problem, is that whatever they were trying to do last year, I don't know if they were trying to mimic what they were doing with Mahomes in Kansas City.
They're not doing that because
No.
they want him to stay in the pocket. Mahomes is a scrambler, and so is Trubisky. If you let Trubisky
yes.
scramble,
Yes.
that's his gameplay. That's what he does.
I don't know where this scheme came. They refuse to run the ball. I'm not an idiot. I know you got to run the ball. Then run the ball. You know, that's a problem. You know what I mean? So, do you think that Trubisky can be successful this year?
absolutely. Because now Matt Nagy knows that he's on the short leash as well.
Yeah.
And it's time to start tailoring the offense to what Trubisky does best, cutting the field in half for him, simplifying his reads, literally taking football and making it schoolyard football for Mitch, where he's getting outside of the pocket. He's an excellent thrower on the run.
Right.
It's just about taking advantage of his skill set. I mean, you look at Lamar Jackson kill it in Baltimore, and he still doesn't know how to read defenses. As I break down a whole lot of tape, man, and I love to come on and actually break down the tape to show fans the stuff that they don't see, the intricacies and the nuances. Patrick Mahomes is still learning how to read defenses.
And he's admitted it.
Exactly. He just has a generational arm where he can outthrow his mistakes, whereas Mitch has a solid arm.
The thing that football fans forget is that he was a baseball player. We just talked about Steve Cishek with his crazy submarine-style throwing. And when you watch Mahomes throw his sidearm passes, that's baseball all day. A lot of accuracy comes from that, too.
I watched Charlie Huff strike out a lot of dudes.
Oh, dude.
That quirky sidearm action.
You know? So, I mean, it's frustrating. And I'll say this, and Z knows how I feel about Jay Cutler. I think it's been a long time since a quarterback got a fair shake in this town because we're so hypercritical. It's just like the way that they do the Cubs. You're so hypercritical of the smallest thing. You don't give them a chance to even grow in a system. They're ready to push him out the back door before he even gets his foot in the front door, you know?
Absolutely, man.
So who do we blame for his non-growth? Do we blame the front office? Do you blame the coaching? Or do you blame it? Put that on the quarterback? Who do we blame for this?
I'm going to go with the front office, man, because you have a situation where you draft a quarterback for a coach that absolutely positively doesn't want to have anything to do with this quarterback, which is John Fox.
Yes.
And he was on the way out the door anyway. So now you try to literally go and get a guy who has, already successfully developed quarterbacks in a specific style of an offense in the system. And then you bring this guy in, you tell him, hey, take this guy who we don't know what type of player is yet and make him fit your scheme.
Right.
And so it's definitely, in my opinion, it's always on the front office, man, because when I tell you these guys have a wealth of resources available to be able to tell what's what about a player, they knew stuff about my game and stuff about my technique.
Nuance.
That I was, in the interview, I'm like, wow, I got to work on that. I was actually going to tell them I need to work on that, and they already knew I needed to work on it. So it's like, these scouts already should know better. Like, Mitchell Trubisky is really a play-action quarterback, and Matt Nagy, the system is actually a play-action quarterback. But what they don't tell you is that the offense that the Chiefs runs is very play-action friendly, which actually fits what Mitch wants to do. But if you don't have the tight ends and what the Chiefs run, the offense is going to fail. And what you saw the first 2 years with Mitch in that system is literally no guy that could dominate the scene. Or the middle of the field.
It was night and day what you saw with those 2 seasons, because the first season they were able to utilize Shaheen. They were able to use and utilize Trey Burton. Now, whatever happened to Trey Burton happened to Trey Burton. I mean, like I gave Z here a quiz. I'm like, hey, I'll give you a quarter if you can tell me what team Trey Burton's on right now. And I had only known because I'm over here looking for a tight end in draft, and he's in Indy right now. You know, 90% of anyone would no idea where the hell he is. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. There's a hot button issue, especially with the fact that Deshaun just got a deal. Pat Holmes just got a deal not too long ago. And this goes all the way back to, we're talking about scouting. We're talking about how much information and how much background these teams are actually doing on players. Do you think that the selection of Trubisky had anything to do at all with race?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You have to understand who, first of all, who Virginia McCaskey is as a person, and not saying she's racist or anything like that, but I mean, let's be real. They've gone years trying to get the stereotypical square jaw white dude to represent the Bears and be the face of the franchise, and for whatever reason, they just haven't been able to connect. I mean, in my opinion, is Eric Kramer had like the best season as a Bears quarterback in recent memory. But yeah, man, the Bears' preference is always going to be that guy that they can roll out in front of the camera and be every bit of the stars they are on the field. That.
Now you say that, but Jay Cutler wasn't that type of person.
No.
He hated the cameras. He hates the cameras now. I mean, I can't believe he still has an Instagram, but he hates being in front of the camera. And I don't want to diagnose him because I'm not a doctor, but he seems to me to be bipolar.
It might be.
Well, I do have a little bit of inside information about the Jay Cutler trade. That was at a time where the McCaskey family was very much so hands-off how they dealt with the general managers.
Okay.
So they never really approved of the Cutler trade. It was one of those things where they said, hey, we're going to let you do your job, but if this Cutler situation doesn't go well, you're out the door with him. You know what I mean? So whereas Matt Nagy, if this doesn't work out with Mitch Trubisky, will have the opportunity to go and get his own signal caller.
Which he should.
Yeah.
He absolutely should.
Like as an X's and O's guy and as a developer of quarterbacks, it doesn't get much better than Matt Nagy, man. Like I've broken down a lot of his film, and even on plays that have not been successful, I understand how he's trying to scheme for the personnel that he has, and it's like apples and oranges compared to the type of personnel
that he actually has. Yeah,
has access to, and it had access to in Kansas City, where Trey Burton and Adam Shaheen are solid prospects. But Travis Kelce,
yes,
a Hall of Fame caliber tight end.
So now with that tidbit that you just put there, let's say the Bears don't get into the playoffs and Trubisky's out the door.
Yes.
Okay.
I was just about to ask this.
With your defense window pretty much starting to close at this point because we're on the other side of it, we got about maybe 3 years left with this defense. Maybe I don't know. I mean. What do you do with your quarterback situation? Are you going to draft a young buck? And
you can draft a young guy. I mean, right? Here's the thing, and I was literally just about to ask this: is going into this season. Let's say they bomb. And they get another shot at like a number 2, number 3 pick. We have Justin Fields. We have who's the kid out of Clemson? Sunshine with the long hair. I can't remember his name right.
Sunshine.
Trevor Lawrence. It's Sunshine. Yeah. So I mean, and I know there's a couple other guys out there, but my preference, and granted, I'll be fair. I've been watching this kid since he was on QB1 on Netflix. I talked about him before. I'm a fan of his. I like Justin Fields. That's why I would love to see him in Chicago. I would love to see what he could do with Matt Nagy.
But that's
absolutely.
Do we have that window to bring in a young buck?
You have, I mean, but see,
because he's young buck, it doesn't guarantee like he can start day one. I mean, those guys are special that are starting day one. So do we have to go to get a free agent quarterback?
No, I don't think so, man.
Okay.
I'm going to actually say franchise quarterbacks drafted in the first round, specifically top 10 picks, are expected to be day one starters now. Yep. With the advancements in the game, as far as the way the receivers pretty much have free reign to run routes without any contact. Coaches, have the ability to scheme I mean, it's not taboo anymore to have, a mobile quarterback.
No.
It's actually
Preferred.
the preferred.
You mean AKA black quarterback?
Pretty much.
Right.
So
let's let Virginia know about that. Let's let Virginia know about that.
Indeed. And like I try to get a word in if I can, man. I shoot my man Spice a call, be like, hey, you got to go tell Virginia it's time for a square jaw black dude.
Please, let me tell you, you know who I really wanted back in the day was Vince Young. I was in love with Vince Young as a quarterback. He didn't do too well. I mean, neither did Matt Lyer. But I mean, like, I was like, man, if you could get
Vince Young got a raw deal.
Of course he did, because Jeff Fisher is a piece of garbage too.
That dude's the quarterback destroyer, man. Yep. Like,
yeah. And he got bounced around, and you know what I mean. There's a lot of good quarterback, a lot of guys that had a lot of potential to be great quarterbacks who just did not fall into the right system, not in the right scheme.
But didn't that happen with the LA? Fisher was there, and then
when the Rams.
With the Rams,
yeah,
the Rams.
Yeah.
And then the new the new coach came in.
Yeah, and then all of a sudden they improved.
All of a sudden it's a different system, and this quarterback's awesome.
It's like Mark Jackson in Golden State. Oh man, this is the same players. Oh, how did this happen? Well, leadership changed.
Yes,
leadership changed. You know what I mean? So when we talk about Matt Nagy's scheme really, really needing tight ends, do you think that Cole Kmet and Jimmy Graham can be those players that they really need to help this scheme out?
Yeah, absolutely, man. They're actually the prototypical type of dudes that you need in that offense. Even just their presence is going to add a whole different dynamic to the offense because
safety blanket.
These guys are legit 6'6", 6'7" dudes that can run, that can move, that can occupy linebackers and safeties. You can't ignore them. You know what I mean?
Right.
Whereas Trey Burton was, a move tight end, kind of an H-back tight end hybrid. And Adam Shaheen, I feel like got a raw deal. He just couldn't stay healthy, and that's got nothing to do with that.
He also had a bad problem with catch and fall. Like the ball came near him. If he got his hand, who was there was another guy. He looked like a villain from a Super Mario movie, and he would every time he catch the ball, he just fall. He was a terrible tight end for the Bears. I can't remember, but he was like 6'9".
You're talking about
you know who I'm talking about?
Kellen Davis.
Yes. Oh my God, yes. He was just a monster, but he was like very unathletic. He was just there because he was big. It felt like, it was like Taco Fall of the NFL.
Oh boy,
dude was such a physical specimen, man, at the position that if he could have just put it together, man.
Yeah.
My goodness, you're talking about a guy with all the tools.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to have it. What do you say about the people that will talk about Jimmy Graham and saying, hey, last year you had Aaron Rodgers and you couldn't do anything. So what makes you think that you're going to do anything here in Chicago?
How can we believe in Jimmy Graham?
With a couple of quarterbacks who, I mean, haven't been very good.
Well, I'm going to be the contrarian when it comes to Jimmy Graham not doing nothing in Green Bay.
Okay.
7 touchdowns is 7 touchdowns.
Okay.
So even if he only serves as a red zone target,
yeah,
opens up the field for everybody else.
Cole Kmet will be everything else. He's going to be the exceptional blocker, the guy that just needs to get adjusted to the speed of the game. I love that draft pick, by the way, man. He's a local kid.
Yes.
I've seen him a lot.
Yes.
And when I tell you, I'm not going to, curse him putting a baby Gronk, this, that, and the third name on him, but he's going to be exactly the tight end we need in Chicago for the next 10 years.
I'm a big Notre Dame fan, and I was thrilled when they made the pick, and I talked about it. I said, I'm thrilled. I've been watching Notre Dame tight ends come in this league for years. These guys have been floating around for years, and they do decent. Some have much better years than others, you know what I mean? But the two that are big right now are getting old, and I can't wait to see what Cole Kmet's going to do out there. I was so happy they drafted him.
Well, we just hope that he's going to be the answer that we've been waiting for since, I don't know, who was the last good quarterback? I mean, tight end, I don't know, Greg Olsen.
Yeah.
We've had a couple of good ones, man. Greg Olsen, Desmond Clark was nice.
Desmond Clark, yes. Yeah. Desmond Clark was decent. I remember, but he wasn't a guy that you were like, put it this way, he was not in your top 10 on your fantasy team. You know what I mean? He wasn't a name that you seek out and stuff like that. You know what I mean? That's what here's the problem is that we very rarely on offense have like a sexy name on offense, and that's, we rely on the defense and every time. And now that we're in an era of, the offense being so important and the running back not even counting half the time. I mean, like we are so hungry for that sexy name, that sexy player on the Bears offensive side. We're just thirsty for this, and we can't wait to see if somebody can actually do something.
Yeah, well, Cole Kmet will be a George Kittle level player for us.
I hope
he's in a perfect scheme. He's super smart. He's super athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna give you guys a tidbit. He starts in Detroit.
He should be.
Yeah,
he should be.
A lot of people thought Jimmy Graham would start, but what you have to understand about Matt Nagy's system, like when he was OC and when Andy Reid let him be the OC in Kansas City, that they run 2 tight end sets.
Yes.
Like 60% of the time. So you just need one guy that's going to be the answer long term, and then your second tight end just needs to be a scheme fit. And that's what Jimmy Graham will bring to the table. So now you're getting 2 additional red zone targets along with Allen Robinson, along with Anthony Miller, who's actually pretty good in the red zone.
He's good, but that shoulder
can't stay healthy.
That's a problem.
He's had a really good camp, and that kid's progressed 100%.
I'm a big fan of his. But his shoulder almost fell off twice. That's they show him walking around, that thing's dragging on the floor. I'm like, bro, shoulder's not supposed to do that. Your arm is supposed to be up towards the top of your body, not by your knees, man. So yeah, I just mentioned running backs, and right now we got Monty. He's injured with that groin injury. That is not a fun injury. That's very hard to recover from.
Right. Have you had a groin injury?
I have, man. And it's very tricky to deal with a groin injury because you could wake up one day and feel fine, and then the wrong step, the wrong pivot, and you're right back to square one. But, those guys have the best of the best, medical attention and trainers and everything.
So here's the thing. I've been preaching for a while. I've been asking and begging, please bring in Devontae Freeman. I'm a fan of his from back when it was him and Tevin Coleman back in Atlanta. And the only reason he's not in Atlanta now is because they got Todd Gurley. So now with this week, he went over and visited with Jacksonville because they dropped out on Leonard Fournette. But, I mean...
Why are we not chasing these running backs?
We're looking at Fournette. Got released. Where did he latch on to? Of course, he went to Tom Brady's team. You know what I mean? Then we got
Tampa Bay, Tom Brady. Oh,
yeah,
look at that!
You just figured that out.
I just figured that out. Wow.
TV. Why do you think he went there? Yeah, and then you got Peterson got released, and right away he got sent to or they picked him up in Detroit, and we got to face him week 1. You know what I mean? So. What are we doing, man? What do you think about Freeman? Do you think he's someone that we should be bringing in or at least looking at?
It depends on where we at with Montgomery. For me, them not making a move in free agency lets me know that he'll be ready to go week 1. And he's already showing up as questionable on the injury report. So he'll be ready to go.
Do you believe in him?
Oh, he's a dog, man. Like I watched a lot of film on him at Iowa State. I actually had a chance to spend some time with Coach Castillo at the Combine like many years ago.
Okay.
And when I tell you that the offensive line is going to be like night and day from the last couple of years.
I hope so.
Good to hear.
That guy is sometimes you have rare coaches that are just like, the whisperers, what they like to call them.
Mm-hmm.
That guy's the offensive line whisperer, man. You spend a couple of hours with the dude, you're going to be a better player.
Yeah, we were going to swing into our offensive line. That was our next question we had on our list. So, I mean, what you're telling us is phenomenal. I mean, that was going to be our next point of our topic.
Right, and that just goes to to the point that we were watching that earlier game, and when the offensive line held, even though there was a rush coming on his blind side, he curled around, saw his target, made an accurate throw, and the guy was down, 8 yards after the throw. That's 13 yards.
And he got the yak.
Right, that's what I'm saying. We're just getting the yak.
And give him the
you're
opportunity.
saying the offensive line is going to hold a little bit better, and now we've got more weapons.
Right.
You got tight ends that can block or they can catch, and you got 2 healthy wide receivers.
Well,
that's a lot of weapons.
Don't forget. I mean, they also got a bunch of these receivers waiting in the wings. We got Riley Ridley. They got the kid they just drafted right now. I can't remember the name top of my head.
He had a hell of a camp too, Mooney.
Yes. And he was someone that when we went down our initial list of what was it, like a month ago, I mean, I didn't know much about him. There's a lot of guys, but I mean that's just when you get a lot of players come from these smaller schools, directional schools. You don't know a ton about them until you really start digging deep. But you just trust that your scouts know what they're doing. You know what I mean? That's just what it is.
Yeah, I mean, I've never had a problem with the Bears scout department, except when it comes to the quarterback position, man.
Yeah.
Like we found late round gems. I mean, first round picks are always a 50-50.
50-50 every time. Yep.
Man, you're either gonna get a stud or a dud, man. There's no gray area on the first round picks. It just isn't, and it's unfortunate because you really need that first round guy to be a stud. You know what I mean? It's such an intense value placed on first round picks. Like, and it doesn't matter whether you're drafting first overall or 32nd.
Yeah.
That guy in the first round is expected to be a franchise player, whatever position you're taking him at. And when it doesn't pan out, you know, it sets your organization back 2 years because you wasted a year of scouting, and now you have to wait a year to replace him.
Now, one guy who I keep completely forgetting that the Bears signed is Ted Ginn. What do you think he can contribute?
Well, I mean, first of all, man, he still can run like a deer.
Yes.
So he's going to help take the top off of some defenses, which we didn't have last year at all at the receiver position with, you know, Gabriel, his situation. And
that was unfortunate.
And he actually has much better size than Gabriel was 5'8", man. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. Him and Tariq Cohen are basically the same size. They're just
same size guys, man.
Yeah.
So you got a guy that's, you know what I mean, 6'1", 6'2", running like that. It's a different look for the offense. You know what I mean? And he's a pro, man. He's going to definitely, you know, I don't expect, you know, outrageous production, but I do expect him to come in and make big catches, make big plays. He's always a threat in the return game, of course. You know what I mean? So, you know, you need those good, solid veterans around. He's gonna help that wide receiver room a whole lot. He's been around some of the greats.
So right now they have, if you, including Ted Ginn, you're looking at Ted Ginn, Anthony Miller, and Darnell Mooney, who are all just about the same size. I mean, they're all 5'11". Miller is a little bit heavier. He's listed at 199. And Ginn is listed at 180. Mooney is listed at 174. So similar guys. I think them. I really hope you can use Ginn to be a mentor. You know what I mean? Be a mentor for guys like Miller, guys like Mooney. The same way that we're hoping that Jimmy Graham can be a mentor for someone like Cole Kmet.
Yeah. Like that's exactly what you're getting with the Jimmy Graham and with the Ted Ginn. Guys that's going to come into the locker room and set the example of how to be a pro, how to work, how to take care of your body, how to break down film. You know what I mean? Like, you know, just, you know, me coming, you know, trying to get on teams and being around certain veterans that were open arms with the young players, man. Like, you get an opportunity to learn from those dudes and see who they are. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the work just begins when you get to that level. And, you know what I mean? Accountability is, you know, rule number one. So having those good locker room guys, man, on the offensive side of the ball are definitely going to pay dividends, along with the solid coaching that they bring in. You got some really exceptional offensive minds, where I feel like Matt Nagy had more freedom to go out and really get the type of guys that he likes to scheme with. Bill Lazor is one of the smartest guys in the room. In any football room. Castillo, like I said before, he's going to bring just a wealth of experience in installing technique and getting the most out of guys who we may be like, I don't know if this guy is going to ever pan out as a lineman. He'll take a guy like who's going to start at right guard, you know, next Sunday, Jermaine Ifedi, and make this guy a serviceable start. You know what I mean? Like, we'll be fine. You know what I mean? And I hate that Kyle Long didn't get a chance to play with a coach like a Juan Castillo, because, you know, a lot of injuries Kyle Long had were technique related. And I watched a lot of film on Kyle. He was like my favorite Bears player for many years.
Yeah.
And he was just such a natural athlete. that he was able to get away with a lot of technique deficiencies that actually aided, to injuries for him.
Wow.
So.
All right, man. Well, we're going to wrap this up here. We want to say thank you so much to Il Brown here for joining our crew. Expect to hear him every week now as we move forward and give Bears analysis, post-game breakdown, and then we'll do a preview of the following week's game.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, man. It should be a wild ride, man. Before we get out of here, any predictions? How many wins?
Ooh, that's what I was going to hit you with before we left. I'm going to go 7-9.
I'm hoping for 9-7.
I got 10-6, man.
All right, I like it.
Positive, I like it.
Yes.
I like it. Way to close this out.
When the schedule comes out, that's like Christmas morning for me.
Yeah.
I immediately start going to the tape.
All right, so what's your week one prediction?
I got the Bears. Let's go 24-17 Bears.
I like it.
I like it. That's what I was going to.
Yeah, I would say maybe like 21-17. You know what I mean? Just because I don't know how many times you're going to be able to get down the field. But I will take a week one win for sure.
It'll be your first time in a long time.
All right, everyone. Our contributor today is Il Brown. He'll be with us the entire season. Check out his podcast called Beat the Block Podcast. It's on all major platforms. And check out Villain Radio Studios as well. All right, Il. We'll check with you next time, all right?
All right, been a blast, man. Looking forward to next week. Let's do it.
Take care. You didn't think we forgot, did you? It's time for Stirring the Pot.
Yeah, it's time for Stirring the Pot.
Oh, boy. What do you got for us?
We're going food again.
All right. I'm a little hungry, so let's do this.
I feel like it's appropriate. If we keep calling it Stirring the Pot, we might as well stick with the food thing. I think we've been doing pretty good with it, and it's been fun.
Yeah, it's real fun.
So what was it? A couple days ago, you and Mike Latched came over to watch some NBA Game 7, right?
Yeah, it was fun. Good times.
And Mike Latched goes, "Hey, what kind of snacks are you gonna provide?" Yeah, what kind of snacks are you gonna provide? I says, "Okay." So I went and grabbed some Doritos and some pretzels and all types of stuff. So today's question is going to be about Doritos.
Yes, sir.
Some old school Doritos, not the new stuff, not the spicy chili, not the taco, not the flaming hot. We're talking about red and blue.
Red and blue.
Red and blue.
Nacho cheese and ranch.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah. Nacho cheese and Cool Ranch. Cool Ranch. All right. Which one is going to be, man?
I'm going Cool Ranch, brother, all day, all
it's
night,
the
baby.
worst. That's the worst one. That is absolutely the worst one, bro. If you're going to go with the Doritos, you got to go with that original, with that nacho cheese, man.
Yeah, see, the thing is, the Cool Ranch, I get the little bag. I'm good with that. That's enough for me because I don't eat a lot of chips. But if I do the regular red Doritos, man, I'm putting a lime in it. I'm putting some Valentina or some Tapatio on that. I'm hooking it up, man.
Extra. That's extra, bro. When have you ever heard? So Doritos is supposed to be based on nachos, on tortilla chips and stuff like that.
Right.
Where in Mexican culture is Cool Ranch from?
I don't know.
At least nachos make sense. Nachos, they got the taco flavor. They got, that's what I'm saying, even the spicy chili, even the
All I'm going to say now, there's a Tapatio flavor for Doritos.
Oh,
and that's
right.
my favorite flavor right
and guess
there.
what? There's no Tapatio Cool Ranch.
You know what? I'm going to get a small bag and I'll put some Tapatio. I'm going to get back to you, see how it tastes.
Oh, man. All right. Hey. All right, everyone. That's all the time we have for today. Our Bears segment was brought to you by Noir Caesar. Visit noircaesar.com for more information. Huge thanks to our new Bears contributor, Il Brown. Don't forget to check out his podcast, Beat the Block, which is available on all major platforms. Shout out to Ronesh, our producer, Jay Soto. Shout out to Mike Logic and Ideal from the All Net Podcast. Check them every other Monday, especially now during the NBA playoffs. Don't forget to check us out on social media. Our brand new Twitter, you can find us at True Shies Fans. That's True CHI Fans. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Spotify, and reach out to us on our email. We really want to hear from you. You can find us at truechicagosportsfans@gmail.com. And until next time, be good to each other.
For the love of sports.
Yeah.
Let's do this next week, baby.